guys want to talk about.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of For the Love of Wrestling. I am, of course, your host, the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. Happy Tuesday. Happy day after Raw. It is a beautiful day today. I hope y'all are having a good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Seeing some love in the chat room already. Michael Vasquez is here. Stat Boy is here. Good morning, afternoon, my internet fans working on stats, getting ready for tonight's sports bar. Dory Lewis back this week. Awesome. Good to hear that. Walter's in the chat. Hell yeah, waiting for this video. Wanted to see my reaction to the women's tag title change. All in good time. All in good time. I will get there. Boss Man is here. The Renegade is here. Absolutely. I was very much looking forward to this episode of Raw with the two tag title matches that were on it. And I was very optimistic. I, split the game 50-50, if you will. But I'm not mad at it. Emmanuel's here. Good morning, everyone. Jeff says it's a wet and wild Tuesday here in Santa Clarita. It hasn't started raining yet. There's definitely rain in the forecast, and you can tell it's a muggy sky over here in Victorville. But right now, I would just call it June gloom, so to speak, even though it's December. It actually looks kind of decent out there. It's not hot by any means. Temperature says it's 57. Which I find that a little bit hard to believe. But we're not here to talk about the weather. We are here to talk about, as Noah Foster would say, professional wrestling. Damn it. Walter says 3 hours flew pretty well last night. Absolutely. So the show kicked off with the Judgment Day coming out to the ring. And Damian Priest welcomes us all to Raw and tells us to all rise for the Judgment Day. Finn then goes on to kind of commend the Creeds for running the gauntlet, becoming number one contenders. And Finn says it's the biggest match in the Creed's career, but for the Judgment Day, it's just another day at the office. Rhea issues a threat to Ivy Nile. Dom tries to speak, but he gets booed out the building. R-Truth then comes out and feels that the beatdown he suffered last week was kind of like his initiation, kind of like how when you get jumped into a game. Truth and JD McDonough then go back and forth, and they try to make a Miracle on 34th Street fight, but the match has already been announced to public. So it's another one of those R-Truth, my bad type of moments where he's trying to make a match in the spur of the moment, but we all know it's going to happen. So instead, to put a little bit of a twist on it, they turn it into a loser leaves Judgment Day Miracle on 34th Street fight. Goes straight into the match, and it was a fun opening contest. I'm not going to lie. Some good back and forth action. R-Truth, 51 years old, dude, still moves and is as good as he was back in freaking 2001 when he was running with Road Dogg as K Quick. So you figure he would have been 29 then? Hasn't lost a step. Great action, like I said. Truth puts Truth puts JD. I keep using JD as a shortened version for both Judgment Day and then, of course, JD McDonough. Truth puts JD through a table and ends up getting the win for the match. So is JD McDonough actually out of the Judgment Day? Is R-Truth actually a full-fledged member now? We'll find out later on in the show. Let's not jump ahead for those of you that watched. Stat Boy says R-Truth needs to bring back Lil Jimmy, otherwise it's a conspiracy. Walter says, I love R-Truth. We need to protect that man at all cost. Over there doing Cena's offense, he had me cracking up. Yeah, he did the full-blown 5 moves of doom. Shoulder tackle, ducked the wild punch, turned it into the proto bomb, did the 5-knuckle shuffle, went for an AA, but it got countered. I'm like, dude, what in the hell are you doing, Truth? But he had me dying. My biggest problem with R-Truth is that, and I'm sure he went the Mick Foley route, where Foley felt that, being the guy to pull a sock out of his tights would save him on his career. I'm sure R-Truth felt that, going the comedic route would allow him to continue his career some without putting as much wear and tear on his body. But this is the same man who's a former 2-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Like, it pains me sometimes to see him continually do the goofy stuff because I know he could be a viable contender. So it's a double-edged sword for me because I wish Truth was a serious competitor and could be presented as a serious threat to the title. But his shenanigans, #shenanigans, buy the shirt, always make me crack up. Stat Boy says, R-Truth is legend. Wait for it. Dairy. Jeff says he fell the F out laughing at the Cena stuff. Yeah. Cena had to have a big ass smile. You know the results once it was loser leaves. Remember, R-Truth is John Cena's biggest fan since he was a kid. Well, we all know Emmanuel's not Cena's biggest fan. But I digress. From this, we then shifted gears some, and we had Nia Jax come out to cut a promo. But before she could even speak, Becky came out. And Becky gets on the mic and is like, if you're going to run your mouth, if you're going to talk a bunch of mess, if you're going to talk about me, say it to my face, I'm right here. And she just starts taunting Nia as Nia retreats. Nia says that she was just going to announce herself for the Women's Rumble as a competitor. She's going to announce her participation. And Becky decides to run off at the mouth of Nia, talking about how she's the best to ever do it. And all you'll ever be is the woman who broke the nose of the best to ever do it. And she tries to goad Nia into a match. And at first, we think Nia is going to do this thing. And then Nia backs down and says, no, we're going to do this on my terms in my hometown of San Diego at Raw Day 1. So we've got that match set up now. We then had a Caden Carter, Katana Chance video package promo, kind of hyping them up for their tag title match tonight. You know what, Walter? I kind of am with you on this. I want Nia to win that feud because here's my problem. Here's my problem here, and I've been thinking long and hard about this. But I feel like there's too many shades of gray in wrestling today. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. I feel like there's too many shades of gray. Becky Lynch is supposed to be our baby face. And she's throwing all this shade that a baby face traditionally wouldn't do at Nia. It's kind of the same thing that we had with Adam Page going against Swerve. Page came out, shot all that stuff that was real legitimate feeling that he was feeling towards Swerve, and ended up coming like a heel promo when Page was supposed to be the face. everything that Becky said last night, while it may be absolutely true, while it may be guttural instinct feeling, really kind of came off like a heel promo, and Becky's supposed to be the face here. I wish they would, pull back on that just a little bit, because it seems to be a problem in wrestling across the board today. We don't have as many defined, there's a lot of that walking the line. Emmanuel says, not a fan of Becky, but Triple H needs to push Nia. Wait. Okay. Not a fan of this Becky, aka Triple H push with Nia, aka Random Unstoppable Wrestler. I mean, I think if it's done right, it'll be good. The question is will the ends justify the means? We then saw Kofi Claus and DIY, and he gives Gargano a Yeet t-shirt, not the blurred one, which apparently they have begun marketing a blurred Yeet shirt from the 1 week where they actually had to blur the shirt on TV because of the copyright issues. Now they're going to make money off of it and start selling a blurred Yeet shirt. Crazy. So he gives Gargano a Yeet shirt, and then it transitions into DIY and The Miz, and they're talking about last week and how it was awesome. And I know there was a little bit of issues in the past, specifically between Tommaso Ciampa and Miz, but everything is cool now. And then it transitions into Miz being interviewed about the upcoming Intercontinental title match against Gunther and the pressure that he feels having to face him. Statboy says day one is not a PLE, it's just happening on Raw. No. What they've done is the entire first week of WWE, Mikey, is being built to be like it's a major deal. Day one, since it's happening on a Monday, so it can't be a PLE, is going to be a Raw special to help kick off the year. The next night on NXT is New Year's Evil. That's going to be a big special, a 2-hour special. And then on Friday, it's New Year's Revolution SmackDown. So they're resurrecting that PLE for SmackDown. So all three shows are supposed to have a huge big match feel. Plus, we have Wrestle Kingdom coverage. Plus, knowing TK, he's going to try and one up that and make Dynamite some kind of huge kickoff event. The entire first week of the year, we're already going to be dead, and we ain't even going to have gotten a week into the We's Gonna Die tour. And apparently Emmanuel will be there for day one in San Diego along with Arlene. That's awesome, man. So from all that, we then go into our Intercontinental Championship match, Miz challenging Gunther, and if Miz loses, he cannot challenge for the IC Championship for as long as Gunther is champion. And this match is a modern day classic. You've got basically the guy who arguably, prior to Gunther, made the Intercontinental Championship important again versus the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of history. And these two just had some fantastic storytelling in this match, some great chain wrestling. Miz was pulling out shit that he had never done before. This multiple opportunities for both men to put their opposition away. This thing took 2 commercial breaks during the match, and it was still going. Had to have gone between 20 and 30 minutes. I wasn't timing it, but considering that it needed 2 commercial breaks for the match, Gotta figure it went between 20 and 30. And Gunther got the victory, defeated The Miz, retained the Intercontinental Championship, and The Miz can no longer challenge Gunther. It was a sad day in Mudville as the mighty Miz struck out, but goddamn if it wasn't a fantastic match. We then got a Creed Brothers hype video to kind of hype them up for their tag title match later on this evening. We then went backstage and we saw Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci congratulating Gunther. And Gunther says that he's going to take a few weeks off to recharge, and Imperium need to stay there and they need to grind. They need to prove that they are still worthy of being in a faction with Gunther, the Ring General. Kofi Claus comes in and he gives Kaiser a gift. Kaiser opens it up and it's a lump of coal. We then go to Shinsuke Nakamura, who reads The American Nightmare Before Christmas. And I gotta say, of all the Nakamura promos that I have seen so far, this had to have been one of the best. Maybe it's because I'm such a Christmas guy anyways, but seeing him read The American Nightmare Before Christmas was just chef's kiss. Got to a point where Cody couldn't take it anymore. Cody came in, attacked Shinsuke. They began to brawl around the arena, down to ringside. We then had a backstage segment with Pierce and Tozawa, and Tozawa was trying to get a match. And we don't know at this point what the match is. But Pierce is like, are you sure this is the match that you want? And Tozawa's like, yes. And so Pierce makes it official. Tozawa leaves. Chelsea Green and Piper come in to talk to Pierce. And Chelsea, of course, being the Karen gimmick that she is, like, it's the holidays. We shouldn't have to defend our titles tonight. We shouldn't have to defend our titles against these two. Can't we have the night off? And Pierce is like, you're right. It is the holidays. No. They take off dejected that they still have to defend their titles against Caden Carter and Katana Chance. And in comes Big Bronson Reed. And now that The Miz has been defeated, Bronson Reed says to Pierce, he's like, I hear you've got some ideas for Gunther's next challenger. And Pierce is like, indeed I do. Let's have a conversation. And we fade out. And it is now time for our women's tag team championship match as Chelsea Green and Piper Niven defend the titles against Caden Carter and Katana Chance. And to say that I am so fucking happy about this would be an understatement. Like, I legit had tears in my eye last night watching this match result, because this is my NXT, damn it. And I will not digress. No. I had a feeling in my gut that they were going to take it and start the new year fresh with some new champions. Now, I don't think they're going to hold them for long, because I feel like there's more story with the Damage Control and the Kabuki Warriors. But we couldn't go from heel team to heel team. We had to get that buffer. How long will Caden and Katana hold them? That's another story. But I am just so happy for these two women, the longest reigning NXT Women's Tag Team Champions in history, and they are now the champions on the main brand. Kudos to you, ladies. From there, we went backstage to Ivy Nile and Alpha Academy. And Ivy is getting ready for Rhea. She's kind of pumping herself off. And Tozawa says that his match is against Ivar. Yeah, I agree, Walter. Like, I wish they'd have a long standing reign, but I have a feeling that they'll probably lose them at the Rumble, or the best case scenario, they'd hold them until Mania and lose them to the Kabuki Warriors at Mania, depending on what's going to happen with the Damage Control Bailey storyline. But I'm hoping that we can get some legitimate defenses under their belt so that they can at least have, you know, a month or two run. Like I said, Rumble, maybe Chamber, they can lose them. I'll be happy with that. It's just good to see a legitimate tag team holding it again. And that's not to take anything away from Chelsea and Piper because they became legitimate. But Piper literally walked in, grabbed the title from Chelsea, and said, "I'm your partner now." Exactly. We need to get rid of the word transitional. Let's just enjoy what they can bring and see what they can do with it. Amen, Emmanuel. So after the Alpha Academy segment, we have Caden Katana backstage celebrating with Kofi Claus, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Natalia, Tegan Knox are all back there. And Kofi Claus is kind of asking them, what do you want for Christmas? And they're like, man, we just kind of got everything we ever wanted. They take off, and then the other four women are like, well, now that we have new champions, looks like they're going to need some new contenders. And we get another match made for Day 1 Raw. And it'll be Tegan Knox and Natalia versus Shayna and Zoe. They didn't officially say it, but I'm sure it's going to be for number one contenders to the new champs. We then get Ivar and Tozawa. And man, I thought this was going to be a squash match, but Tozawa put up a hell of a fight and actually had Ivar on a couple of occasions where you thought he was going to beat him. However, in the end, the big man got the victory. Predictable as it was, puts Tozawa away, but it was still a fantastic match, showing that Tozawa and Ivar both can work with anybody. We then had a Seth freaking Rollins promo. Seth came out and talks about how, as great as 2023 was, just wait for 2024. It's going to be better. Drew McIntyre comes out, and Drew says that he respects Seth for not kissing ass in the locker room, not kissing Punk's ass. And he talks about Seth being in front of his hometown crowd because they're in Iowa, which is where Seth is from. And Drew says that he questions if all of this has been worth it after 16 years. And he compares his struggle to that of Becky Lynch's struggle, of course, Seth's wife, being away from family, being away from their home country, having family die, and being told, don't you dare bother coming back. You keep chasing your dream, and not being able to say goodbye to that loved one. Is all of this worth it? And as a result, saying that he doesn't want Seth's title. He needs it for validation. And Seth says that he's not really sure if he can believe what Drew says because he gives these speeches that are so warm and heartfelt, and it's like, man, you want to believe everything that Drew's saying, but then his actions show otherwise. Seth says that he pities Drew, which causes Drew to attack him. We then go backstage and we see Cody Rhodes wish the Creed brothers good luck, and the Creeds are just kind of like popping for that because of how huge Cody is, what a big star he is. We then have Kofi Claus come out to the ring and he's giving out gifts to the fans ringside, and Imperium comes out and attacks him. Jey Uso comes out for the save, and we end up getting this turned into an impromptu match. Jey Uso versus Ludwig Kaiser. This was another fun match, kind of in the vein of the match that we had earlier in the evening with R-Truth and JD McDonough. Kofi Claus came back out towards the end of the match, helped Jey Uso get the win. Again, it wasn't anything serious, but it was fun. Yeah, good point, Walter. He delivered babyface words in a heel manner. We then go backstage in the Judgment Day, and Priest wants to keep to the stipulation, and he wants to kick JD out. And he ends up kind of getting talked into leaving JD in because when did R-Truth become a guy that could put stipulations on Judgment Day matches? So despite the fact that we all know Priest didn't really want McDonough in the Judgment Day to begin with, he's convinced to allow JD to stay for now. Rhea says that she is ready to go after Ivy Nile, and hell, she'll put the title on the line at Day 1 Raw. We then get our main event match, the Creeds versus the Judgment Day. And this is the one where I was wrong, man. The Creeds, who were undefeated since coming up to the main roster, ate their first L here. Hell of an effort by the Creed brothers, but it just wasn't their day this evening. Judgment Day retained in an incredible tag team encounter. I can't even be mad. I just hope that come their next opportunity, the Creed brothers are able to climb to the mountaintop. Yeah, there will be a rematch. Julius's shoulder was up. He kicked out. So there's definitely point of contention whether they run it back at Day 1 Raw, whether they run it back at the Rumble. There will be a rematch. Yeah. So we will definitely get something else going on here. And then Emmanuel says Jay might dethrone Gunther, but I'm torn about it. I feel Jay's bigger than the IC title, but he needs to start somewhere. I don't know. Like, I feel like if he had dethroned Roman, that would have been one thing because of the storyline there in the bloodline. But I don't see him dethroning Seth. Maybe when Seth loses it, I could potentially see Jay dethroning whoever takes Seth the belt off of him. Just got to see where it goes because it's all about the believability. That's going to about wrap things up for Raw. I am going to take a quick commercial break, show you where you can find and follow all the friends of the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media. So if you're not following us all, get your screenshot ready so that you can save some of these images and go find us and follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Threads, on YouTube. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. And we are back again. Make sure that you find and follow all of us involved in the multiverse of media. Good time for everyone. So again, that's going to just about wrap things up for the day. Make sure you tune in this afternoon to Stat Boy Sports Bar featuring Dory Lou, where the food is hot, the beer is ice cold, and the seats are warm. So pull yourself up a bar stool and engage in some professional sports conversation with your barkeeps, Stat Boy Mike and Dory Lou. Timing change, that'll be today at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern, instead of the standard 4 p.m., 7 p.m. time. That's due to the fact that Jeff needs me to produce today, and I got kids that I got to pick up from school at 3:30, so I'm not going to be home right at 4 o'clock. So push things back just a half hour in order to give me time to get home, get situated, set up, get the headset on, and begin production. If you are not already a member of the members only section of the Casa D18 Studios channel, I highly recommend that you subscribe today, because if you enjoy Noah Foster calling the action on the pay-per-views, AEW, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, WWE, NXT, whatever it may be, then you're going to want to see Noah and I call the action for the greatest trilogy in professional wrestling history, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Ric Flair. That video will be dropping on Christmas Day as our gift to you, the fans. So make sure that you go and subscribe to the members only section of the Casa D18 Studios channel. It is only $5 a month, and you get all kinds of retro calls like that. Yeah, I know, Jeff. Jeff actually has a social life. Scary thoughts, I know. I don't begrudge you that, brother. So that's going to about wrap things up for today. Make sure you guys all tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, when I will be going more in depth about my NXT. Damn it! As I recap tonight's broadcast of WWE NXT. And until then, I will catch you guys tomorrow.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you.